All right, Chris.
Yeah.
U.S. Open week, one of the best weeks of the PBA season. What makes this event so challenging? And I know you're a great tactician of the game. Is this a really fun event for you with having three different patterns of the challenge?
Well, I think you probably have to be a little bit demented to think it's fun, but the challenge of it is for sure the deal. You know, it used to be 1-to-1 all the time. Now 2 of the patterns are 1-to-1. One is all the way 1.6-to-1. You know, yeah, practically walled up. But all three have distinct challenges between them. You have the field. Now it's a very exclusive field, which makes it an extremely tough field to even cash in, let alone win. And so, but that's certainly the challenge. Is the patterns have always been hard. You know, I think the best of the U.S. Open is when it's really difficult, and I think the shows and the winners prove that out over time.
Now, you had a great run at the Players' Championship a couple weeks ago. It seems like your game is in great shape. The PBA 52 you've been bowling great on. You pretty confident coming in here that you can play with these young guys?
I feel pretty good. I mean, when you take away entry angle and some of the things that obviously as the game gets more and more powerful, this is more like the Colonial in the golf. It's much more of a shot to shot, space to space, and you have to. It's way more accuracy than trying to take 3 boards and turn it into 5, right, which we have a whole tour full of guys that are fantastic at. And 550 RPMs has different abilities to do that than 400 RPMs. And so, but that being said, power is always an advantage. And our guys with power aren't just power; they repeat exceptionally well. And so, it's never going to be easy to win out here. And I don't know if it ever was, but whatever I thought it was, it's not that for me anymore.
We had a chance to talk with your son Ryan. What's it been like for you the last couple of weeks, just seeing him perform at such a high level under pressure situations?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's surreal. You know, you hope the best for your family, and it touched me in a way that any of my own accomplishments never did. And it's just the way I was wired and grinded, and we try and that whole thing was really surreal. It touched me in a way that I'd never, that any of my own accomplishments never did. Maybe tear up a few times. I never tear up for my own bowling ever. You always hope for the best for your kids, and for him to do some of the things he's done, and even some of the little things in that show, whether it was taking some extra time, calling a timeout, he made some great shots in some great spots, and gave himself a chance, made some ball changes where he pulled the trigger and wasn't hesitant like many of us were the first time, 5 times, 8 times in, and so, in some ways he's wise beyond his years, even though he's exceptionally young in actual competitive years, being only 3.5, 4 years into this.
Now, I've watched you bowl for a long, long time. I was just amazed at how much of a student of the game he is, because all the little mannerisms that you have, he's kind of picked up too, and it's just like you're watching almost yourself again all over.
Well, you think they're not paying attention, and then sometimes you do. His first 2 steps, we look a lot alike. After that, his looks a lot different than mine. And if I had to change, I'd go ahead and take what he's got now over, for today's game. That's just the entry fee. Now, but he has combined a lot of the note-taking and keeping track of things and starting to understand how RGs and differentials and covers affect, and putting those pieces together, and it's helping him shorten the learning curve. But at the same time, when he's got it, he has the ability to turn it off and just be a young power player. And where I was always over-analytical all the time, and to the point where I just had to be that way no matter what, because controlling personality, I want to take over in the moments that mattered, he's able to keep it turned off even in those big moments. And he came through in every big moment at the end to make the show and then on the show. So
now he's a competitor this week, right? Yeah. How much advice are you giving him this week?
He'll know whatever I know, but I mean, at this, there's no magic bullets to the U.S. Open. You got to want to be here, and the people who there's guys that got spots that didn't even show up, and so if that's the case, then those people are always the easier ones to beat at the U.S. Open anyway. This is not just physical talent, it's about mental perseverance, because you're going to get challenged. Sometimes some of these pairs will only give you 185, and it's hard to take that, and if it happens in the wrong order, it can knock you out of the tournament. So that's the unfair part of it, but if you keep giving yourself chances in this thing, it took Belmonte a little bit to kind of get into it, and then once he started giving a chance, it didn't take him very long then for him to pick off a U.S. Open.
Yeah. Well, the U.S. Open we've had some really special finishes and stories that come from this. How cool would it be to see you and your son on TV Sunday?
That's the dream come true. Just to be able to bowl in match play last week was something I really didn't think would happen, 3-4 years ago, and for that to happen already, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to be, bowling on tour or not, but that's the ultimate dream come true, to bowl for a title somewhere, and then, I'll help console him when it's over.
Well, I appreciate your time.
He's standing right here.
Yeah,
So.
he's not listening. I appreciate your time. Best of luck. I know we always enjoy watching you bowl, and hope you have a good week this week.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Chris